how does one become an instructor? I know you're the chief riding instructor here. Obviously years and years of experience. We'll talk about that later. But what does it take for one, if somebody wanted to get a job as a riding instructor here at Jockey Club? What would that entail? Would you have to have previous riding experience, or?
You would. Yes, you would. In Patrina's position, she was in the program, she was a trainee, and she didn't make it past a certain position, but she wanted to stick with it, and we just transferred her into an instructor. And today she's very good in the stable. She understands exactly what's going on, what needs to happen, and she helps train the new Marfus and the new SSAs and all that sort of thing in the yard, and she delivers the Cert 2 program. So, and now we're getting her to progress and start to ride with the trainees as well.
So she's very hands-on.
Yeah, very much so, very much so. So, it's been good fun to watch the progress. So she comes back after work and she does fitness with me straight afterwards.
Nice.
And because she's trying to get herself a bit stronger.
And you said fitness with you.
Yeah.
So okay, let's just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
So you obviously work out still.
I don't work out myself, but I've been following a lot of programs, and I started off. Douglas was helping with training Jerry, and because he was a fitness fanatic himself,
right.
Probably still is, and I picked up a lot of his kind of jockey-specific exercises and documented all of that, and I was working on that. And then you start watching these things on social media, and of course we went on to Trent Langlands, and now he comes out here. So we use a lot of his kind of stability training, and we also have strength coaches. You have them in the jockey room here now, and we've picked up where we can. So I've got, a nice book full of exercises of all different kinds,
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so trying to build up Patrina's strength. And we're getting somewhere, yeah.
That's great, because you guys also offer a really, like it's a very well-rounded program, because you offer, psychology, you offer dietary needs, so it's, you talk about mindfulness, nutrition, physical strength, emotional balance.
Support,
so
sure.
how do you, where do you find, in your experience, has been the biggest challenge in terms of getting the trainees to sort of level off and be well-rounded at the end of it? Would you say would be the main area you focus on?
There's so much in that package to deal with, and it's very interesting, because even thinking of myself, it can even stem from your upbringing. Right. What you bring today that affects you and drives you and that sort of thing. So, there's a lot that goes into it, and if you want to do it properly, you've got to put a lot into it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's certainly very, very dedicating. I mean, you have to be very dedicated to the sport. You have to love what you do, I think, to really be able to master this.
And have that strong mindset as well. Yeah.
And Felix, how long have you been doing this? Like you retired, I don't like using that word, we talked about that earlier, but you retired from Hong Kong racing in, what year was it? 2006? Something like that, right? And you went back to South Africa.
Yeah.
And then you were invited to come and work at the Jockey Club.
Yeah.
As a chief riding instructor. So, how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing about 7 years now.
7 years.
Yeah.
And you love it, obviously.
There's nothing I'd rather be doing. And Hong Kong Jockey Club have been very, very good to me. Really looked after me, been very kind, and very nice. And as I say, there's nothing I'd rather be doing than this.
That's great. There's nothing more gratifying than actually doing what you love to do.
Yes.
And it's sort of kept you in the game as well. It's kept you around the horses. It's kept you
very much
engaged.
So. Very much so. Yes, I'm not riding anymore, and this is a wonderful substitute. I enjoy breaking in horses as well, but that's a lot of PT. And as much as I love it, but this is terrific, and it can be really rewarding too.
Now, do you miss riding?
Initially, when I retired and I was watching racing, it was very hard, very tough. you know, whenever I saw horses out on the track and like jockeys walking to the start, I felt like I needed to be there. I should have been there, you know, and it really gets to you. And that stuck with me for just over a year, and it really wasn't easy. You feel angry, you know, it kind of, yeah.
You're almost almost sort of resentful in a strange way.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, that's a good word. And fortunately that passed, and today I'm able to watch races and be happy for other people winning, enjoy watching a good ride, and congratulating a person really meaning
Genuinely.
it, you know?
Not like you did before. I really mean it this time. Oops, sorry, my mic. I'm pounding my mic. Wow, that's great. And you said you were with Monty.
Yeah.
So did you go and see him to learn more about how to communicate with horses, to learn more to work with them? What was your...
So it's a funny story, you know.
Yeah.
Douglas White and myself, we were sitting one night saying, oh, in the off season, what are we going to do?
Right.
And he wanted to watch a rodeo. So it's okay, right. So we're going to America, we're going to watch a rodeo. And we were like Googling this and that, and the next thing up came Monty Roberts.
Really?
And then we thought, wow, yeah, let's try that. So we were sitting there, and next thing was a phone number. So we phoned the farm.
Right.
And bearing in mind, Monty Roberts was, at that stage, he was on the road, he said like 362 days out of 365, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was never back at the farm. And so we phoned the number, and the next thing he says, Monty picks up the phone.
Straight up.
How was that? So Douglas says, hi Monty, this is Felix here.
He threw you under the bus.
He
Well
threw
done,
me under
Douglas.
the bus. So Monty says to him, hey, I recognize that voice. Are you South African?
Yeah. Really?
Yeah. So he recognized the accent.
Yeah.
So, and then it just progressed from there, and the next thing we went. So by the time we got there, we'd had a few conversations, and he was very, very good to us, and you know, spoke to us a lot, and had us to dinner and so on, and we learned a heck of a lot there. I mean, I remember Douglas and I, we were just standing there with our notepad around the round pen. Yeah. And then we'd go back every night and then discuss what we, you know, because we'd been soaking in so much, just listening, that we didn't talk about it during the day, and then at night we'd like, okay, chat about everything. Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
And I got so engrossed in it, and went, you know, got into his online university and afterwards and so on, and then I went back and I watched him again. I went back twice after that, and really, I really enjoyed doing that stuff, breaking in horses, joining up with horses, and it gave me a different perspective of the animal, you know.
It's interesting though, isn't it? Because when you're riding, it's a whole other field, it's a whole other feeling, it's a whole other experience.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden you're here having to work with them on a more emotional level.
Yeah.
Not to say that you don't connect as a jockey, because you do, but it's just understanding more of how they work and what their needs are.
Exactly.
How you can serve them almost in a way, right? It's sort of like a role reversal.
Yes. And Monty has worked with other jockeys before and so on. So, and I mean, I went for a ride with him. You know, can you imagine? He said, we can go out for a ride, and we went out in the mountains near his place, and from up in the mountains we rode down to the beach. Things that he'd show me and so on when we were walking there. Just the two of us. I mean, what a privilege, eh?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. We were walking the one down on the horses, and we're walking along, and the next thing he goes, he stops, and I'll stop, and it just goes like that, and he points to on the other hill, and there was a deer standing there, and you could see it had spotted us, and its ears were on us and so on, and just dead still, just like nature. This is the type of thing that he talks about and teaches, that they're flight animals, you know. And,
what an amazing experience.
Yeah.
Life-changing, isn't it, really?
Yes, very much.
And the fact that he could be so down to earth and sort of you know, you got to actually have one-on-one time with this person,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
out in nature. It's
Yes, yeah,
phenomenal.
privilege, privilege.
Absolutely. That's great.
Yeah.